Okay, we're done with Montreal. We're done with Nathan Young's B-Car Series standalone weekend. We have a new face in Victory Circle today. Not a long podcast today, but of course, we only had one race this weekend, so there's really not too much to talk about. On the round table today, we have Nick Miller, Justin Kolb, and our winner this weekend, Drew Eisenman. Levi Zilenski will be stepping out today, but that's no problem. Justin and Nick really stepped up and did a great job. I hope you guys enjoy them. On the round table today, we'll be talking about what is and isn't a caution, our Las Vegas predictions, a bunch of really good stuff. I really enjoyed having these three on. I hope you'll like it. So yeah, this will be a shorter podcast today because we had a shorter weekend, so I hope you guys enjoy. Let's cut over to the interview I did with Drew Eisenman. He's a real stand-up guy. I'm really happy to have him in the league, and I really hope you guys enjoy racing with him and his friend Cameron Rich. Sunday, April 10th, the 3-Ride Racing Nathan Young Designs B-Car Series went north of the border to Montreal, Canada, where Drew Eisenman took the track and won. Drew Eisenman, if you're a veteran or even new to the league, may not be a known name to you. He has 2 starts in the Cup Series with a top 5 and 2 top 10s, and of course 1 start which was at Montreal where he won. I think, Drew, how many seconds did you win by? Like 15 seconds?
No, it was like 41.
Okay, so yeah, pretty solid win. I think it's pretty safe to say not much competition up there. What won you this race? Was it just, were you just clicking off consistent laps? I really don't think. I don't know. What won you this race? You tell me. I'm not going to sit here and guess.
Honestly, I just focused on not crashing the car and keeping the rear tires underneath it. So like corners where I would take, normally like in qualifying, I would like go down to first gear. I just kept it in second to keep the rear tires under the car so I could keep it under control during acceleration and just trying to not crash, basically.
Oh, yeah. So, we've had a discussion before we started this interview. You're pretty good. You're a pretty good road racer. Are you going? I know you're not going to run the B-Car Series full time. We still go to Road America and Mid Ohio in the B-Car Series. Do you plan on running either of those?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty nice. I love Road America. I'll probably try to make that. I'm not a big fan of Mid Ohio. I thought I was until I raced it. I was terrible at it. So, would you have done anything different this race, or pretty much stick to what you've done? Would you try to win by 45 seconds? It's pretty hard to change anything when you win by 44 seconds. But would you have changed anything that you did?
Yeah, there was one time where I almost crashed, and that probably cost me 6 seconds on the track. It was right through the final couple of corners, the little chicane that goes into Wall of Champions in the front stretch. And I was coming up on some lap cars, and I just locked up the rear, turning when I was turning to the right, and I almost just slapped that wall. That's really the only thing that pops out of my mind that I should have been better on.
Yeah, I think the only challenge that I ever face when I'm at Montreal, I don't know the corner names. It's the early right-hander heading out towards I'm not gonna just forget it. I just get loose on this one by the track every time. Maybe I'll remember another podcast. So, of course, this is a standalone weekend. You have 2 starts. You missed Daytona, but that definitely doesn't count you out at all. Plenty of time. Especially, it's the first race. You have plenty of races to get back up in the chase picture. This weekend, the Cup Series is going to return, and we'll be at Las Vegas. I know you're a road guy, but of course you're working on your oval stuff. Do you plan on tackling Las Vegas more conservative, or are you going to be a little more aggressive to try to help out that learning curve? How do you plan on tackling Las Vegas this weekend?
Yeah, so far that I've approached both my first 2 Cup starts very conservatively, just trying to get to the end. I know Rockingham, I felt like I could compete for the win, but I didn't think I could do that without wrecking at one point during that race because it was such a long race. Atlanta definitely didn't have the speed that I did at Rockingham, and the setup to me was a little bit more difficult to drive because you were so loose off of 2. Mm-hmm. Even then, I still got in the wall and got, basically caused a crash behind me, just trying to not do that. So at these really quick intermediate ovals, that's where I kind of struggle the most because it's foreign feeling to me still. So just trying to adapt to how the car feels under that heavy load, like mid-corner, it's very kind of strange. So top 5 would be a victory for me, kind of like Atlanta was.
Well, I think luckily for you, our schedule does a real good job of keeping everything varied. It's not, just full of cookie cutter ovals. I think in the next 15 races, we go to 3, which I'm pretty sure Chicago, Kentucky, and Charlotte. I mean, I don't really think you can consider Auto Club. It's not a mile and a half. And of course, Darlington is not a cookie cutter either in Michigan. So thankfully, I think you'll find strengths at Iowa and Bristol for sure. In South Boston, I know that you may not. Oh, South Boston, that's a Cup Series. That'd be really fun. So this is your first year in our league. I haven't got the chance to ask anybody else that. How are you liking it? I mean, with 30 plus drivers, it's really hard to get everybody's singular opinion. So as somebody who's new to our league, are you enjoying the racing? Is there anything you would suggest change, or anything you'd like to say to the other drivers? Anything along those lines?
I've had a blast. I haven't had this much fun racing in a long time on ovals. There's your elite guys that I'm not definitely not there yet, that have great battles. Even for me, running, averaging 15th to 10th, I still have great racing. Like I still can race dudes really really hard side by side, and it's very clean. So even though I'm not the most competitive guys, especially like on these intermediate tracks, I definitely can find like really enjoyable hard racing, which is a blast. Which is something that I wasn't necessarily expecting going into it. So it's been really fun, like really really fun.
That's good. I'm really glad to hear that. I started with this league back on Xbox. I never actually raced them on Xbox full time, and I really kind of stepped it up whenever we made our transition to iRacing. And I'm more of an NIS guy. That's like the series I like to race. But I mean, this 3-Ride Racing and Corey, everybody, Tanner, everybody's done such a great job of, making this league experience. Just really makes you feel like, you're really racing. I think it's so cool how we're streaming, have a podcast. The website, everything is really, really cool. Now, of course, you won Montreal, so you earned this mic time. Is there anything you'd like to shout out, anybody you'd like to thank, or anything along those lines?
Shameless plug for my little GT3 series that I run on Saturday evenings called VIMSA. We race primarily, or almost exclusively, North American tracks. Last week we're at Barber. I think this week we're in Lime Rock. I'm not 100% on that. We just take the little GT3 cars with their traction control and ABS, and we race the hell out of them on road courses throughout North America. Practice starts at 7 o'clock Eastern on Saturday nights, 4 p.m. Pacific. 30 minutes qualifying, and then an hour-long timed race.
That's pretty awesome. I can tell anybody who's listening to this that I personally will be partaking in that. It does not interfere with the 3-Ride Racing schedule. For the rest of the year, we're only racing on Sunday and Monday. So if anybody likes to come check that out, I'll have a link in the description. It's called VIMSA. That's V as in Victoria, and then IMSA, like the real life racing series, IMSA. I'd like to thank Drew Eisenman for coming on. He killed it at Montreal. I'm sure that learning curve is not going to take long to get used to on ovals. He's very talented. Thank you, Drew, for coming on, and I'm sure we'll see you on once again.
All right, thanks, Rayce. Appreciate it.
So that concludes our interview with Drew Eisenman. He really dominated up north in Montreal. Did a great job. That race is they brought forward some questions that'll be asked in the roundtable discussion. There's no question at all that he won that race. I think it's more along the lines now we're talking, what's being brought into the conversation recently is what is and isn't a caution. So, of course, before we move on to the roundtable discussion, I would like to thank our music guests, Tavern and SinteryMusic, who allowed me to use their music free on the podcast. And I'd like to thank Nathan Young. He does a real good job for the league. He does a lot of our paint schemes, and he does the graphics for the podcast. He's very, very talented. I'd suggest you check him out. I'll put his a way to get a hold of him in the YouTube description. So I'd like to thank Nathan Young, and of course, always I'd like to thank Corey Lindsay for running the league, and of course Tanner Sharp does our points, does a little bit of everything. All these guys do a real good job of piecing together a great league experience for us. I know I always really made NIS, NASCAR Racing Series, my priority, but ever since, they do such a good job that, 3-Ride Racing is my main focus, in iRacing. It's so much fun. If you've ever been on the fence about trying us out or trying a league out in general, I really do suggest trying our league out. I do this podcast A, because I find it fun, I enjoy video editing, and B, because I really just enjoy this league, and it's a really good way to figure out what's going on. It's a good promotion of the league. So if you're ever interested about a league, try ours out. Honestly, Rowdy Racing is a great experience, and you definitely won't regret it if you can't tell by how the season's going so far. So let's transition over to Nick Miller, Justin Kolb, and our weekend winner Drew Eisenman, and get this roundtable discussion started. The Rowdy Racing Series leaves Montreal and continues on to Las Vegas Motor Speedway and Lime Rock Park this weekend. The Cup Series heads to Las Vegas. The Rock Series heads to Lime Rock. In our standalone weekend, Drew Eisenman takes Montreal. This weekend, Las Vegas. Nick, who do you see taking this one?
Las Vegas. Let's see here. I'm going to go with Tanner Sharp. I kind of think that he's leading the points. He's been kind of had a little bit of bad luck, and I think he's gonna come through.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I know Atlanta was really difficult on the tires, but Tanner was up front some of the day. I'd say he's about due for a win, especially being in the lead. Justin, coming out of Montreal on our standalone weekend and heading back to Las Vegas to get the Cup Series going again, who do you see taking Las Vegas in the Cup Series?
I don't think it's a question right now. I think Sam McClellis is gonna make it 3 in a row. He's on such a dominant role, and he's only got one arm. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, he was great at Atlanta. I know a lot of people had a lot of guys had Cameron Rich taking that win and had a bit of a mess up with the cautions. But Sam led half the laps, was right behind Cameron the whole race. So definitely can't write Sam off. But he has one arm right now, and he's still running competitive. I think he came second at Montreal. So this dude's on fire. Of course, Las Vegas is a different beast from Atlanta. They're both 1.5 milers, but they're still completely different. So what about you, Drew? You had to miss Daytona, but you've made Rockingham and Atlanta. Who do you see winning Las Vegas?
I think we're going to see the same guys up front. I think Cameron Rich, he showed what he can do at Atlanta. I've raced with him a ton. I know he's going to be quick, but I got to go with Sam Close. The guy's just on a roll.
Yeah, I don't think you can count out Sam. I think Cameron's going to be out there. I hope to be out there. I won Las Vegas this year in NIS so far, so I hope I can be quick. And now the Three Rock Series is going to Lime Rock, and it's always hard for me personally to make a prediction because I never really know who's going to run this. Do any of you guys plan on running Lime Rock this weekend with the Three Rock Series?
I know I have to miss, unfortunately, and it is too bad because I was looking forward to this track. I always have a good time running those super late models on road courses, so a little disappointed I'm not going to be able to make it.
What about you, Justin? Do you think you'll be able to make it this weekend?
I'm still undecided, but I found a liking to road course racing with stock cars recently, so probably.
And you, Drew, do you think you'll make it, or are you just be making the Cup Series this weekend?
Yeah, I'm just trying to focus on the Cup Series right now and doing the P cars sporadically. So no Three Rock for me.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into Three Rock yet, but I think this might be my first race. I always look at Lime Rock as if Bristol wanted to be a road course, that's what you get out of Lime Rock. In the Three Rock Point Series, now I'm pretty sure the only people I know for sure running that full time are Carlos and Skylar. That's the only people I know for sure. I know neither of them are really known for their road course racing, so who knows? It's just gonna be a complete wild card. I think whoever shows up for it is going to have a lot of fun. Now we have somebody new in Victory Lane this weekend in Montreal. Drew Eisenman. If you're a veteran to the league, I'll be straight. I'm a veteran to the league, and I didn't know who Drew was, to be honest with you, until he won this weekend. He has 2 starts in the Cup Series, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, and of course one start in the Nathan Young Designs B-Car Series, and that of course came with a win. Drew, so it's actually kind of nice to be able to talk to somebody who's new to this league. Are you enjoying the league? Are you enjoying how things are ran? Do you have any suggestions for us? How are you enjoying the week-to-week series?
I'm having a blast. I'm lately, I'd say the last 2 years, I really haven't run ovals at all. I've been mainly doing Formula 1 and GT3 stuff. So I'm trying to, I used to race an R back in the day, and then I took a break for it for a while. So I'm just trying to relearn how to drive ovals, and it's been a kind of a painful process. And I've had 2 really lucky finishes where I probably finished where I haven't deserved to finish in the Cup Series. So I've loved it so far. It's awesome seeing the car counts that you guys get on a weekly basis, and the racing's been awesome. Really hard, clean racing. It's been a good time.
Yeah, I've the 30-plus rooms every week has been great. And of course, we got it at Daytona, and everybody was asking, we're going to get this the next week, and we did. and then of course the question comes up again in Atlanta, and we did. So I think we're going to be set for a very, very successful season. So Las Vegas, that's definitely an oval driver's track. It's completely different from Atlanta. I mean, Nick, how do you plan on performing this week at Las Vegas?
Oh man, I'll be honest. I'm kind of struggling with these cars. Driving this loose race car has been a struggle for me. Most of these races have been just kind of drive the car safe and make it to the end. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll get some long runs. It seems like that's where I tend to do a little bit better. But you never know. I just hope we get there at the end and hopefully come away with a top 5. I'd be thrilled with that.
Yeah, I think I've picked you like every week to win a race. Hopefully, I'm gonna just keep picking. One day I'm gonna be right. I think the biggest problem I've had with the new tire model and lower downforce is you really have to hold the tires on the car now. I mean, they really, really do fall off for the first time I can remember in a long time in iRacing. Justin, I mean, what struggles are you finding with the current package in the Cup Series, or if you're finding any at all? I mean, like, where's speed at for you? What are you looking to improve on? And how do you think you'll be quick at Las Vegas this weekend?
Well, yeah, call me crazy, but I think this new air package actually makes it better because when they implemented the dynamic tracks, I found the cars just way too tight for me to be able to drive. And this new package is just loosen up the car. It's loose to a point where you may spin out, but I find I can control the cars there. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's 100% better for racing. It's just I just totally, it's definitely thrown. It's kind of, you learn one thing. It's like, oh well, forget everything you've learned, forget all the steps you worked on. Here's how it should be, which is, I mean, it's great. I think it's great. I mean, like, I raced Texas for the NIS series, and I late raced. I went with low fuel at a very tight track, and I kind of lost some of my downforce. And I mean, I ended up being tighter and slower with less fuel in the car, which is a really interesting dynamic. So to Drew, who's somebody who's been road racing and trying to get back in the swing of ovals, have you seen an improvement? I know, of course, Rockingham is a wild card, and Atlanta can pretty much be considered one at this point now. I think Las Vegas will be more on par with the 1.5 milers we go to. I mean, what do you look to do this weekend at Las Vegas? Do you find yourself improving week to week in ovals? What do you expect coming out this weekend?
I'm hoping for another top 5. That's kind of my goal at this point. Just trying to kind of relearn these cars. I know with the previous high downforce package, I struggled a ton. Like, I couldn't make a lap at Bristol with the old like high downforce package. I don't know what it was, or if I just agree with the new low downforce stuff. But it doesn't feel like an overcharged go-kart now.
Yeah.
Like, you can actually drive the car and it kind of moves and you can catch it, and it I don't know. It's racing again versus like everyone driving around in a single file line.
Oh yeah, I know with the high downforce package. I mean, you had to drive these cars a lot faster than you really think you could. To the point, I didn't like it. I didn't like having to. I got to the point where I was pretty decent at it, but I didn't like doing it. I didn't like how quick I could be at certain tracks. Like, it was pretty crazy at Texas. 2-3 laps in, we're already off the gas and nearly on the brakes, which is how it used to be, and I think how it should be. And it's promoted a lot more competitive racing. Now, Monday, April 25th and Monday, May 2nd, that's Iowa and Bristol. So I think, Drew, you'll be a lot better there. I think those will favor you a little bit more than Las Vegas. So what I want to move on to now is everybody in the Through iRacing committee talked about what is and isn't a caution, is what I'm calling it. I know at Montreal we had a few incidents that probably should have been a caution, but of course in iRacing, if you're at a road course, there's only local cautions. And of course, we had a race official, but I mean, a race official never really wants to step in and alter a race. It's really it's an undefined line, and like, somebody could throw a caution, and everybody could point at him for ruining the race, and someone could not throw a caution and point at them for ruining a race. So it's really hard on their hand. So, Nick, I mean, what do you think? What is and isn't a caution? Like, do you think things need to be changed, or are you fine with the way they are? If you were in the catbird seat, what would you change about our cautions in the league?
Personally, I like the way they are. I like to keep the cars going. I like long green flag runs. I like the guys being able to drive, let the thing shake out on its own. I don't think that single car wrecks should bring out a caution. Not for this league, not for what we're trying to do. I just think it breeds more cautions. and it gets more bickering, more fighting. I just think, single car wreck, just let it go as long as it's off the track. Two car wreck, if it's not called and you see somebody's on the track on an oval, yeah, I do think it should be thrown. But that's about it. I do think iRacing does a pretty good job of calling them on their own. As far as the ovals go. Now on the road courses, that's a whole different thing. It seems like there's never a caution thrown by iRacing, at least. But again, I think single car wrecks, you got to let it go. Multiple car wrecks, yeah, if it's blocking the track, you got to throw it. But I gotta say, I'm pretty satisfied the way 3Y Racing does it.
Oh yeah, and of course now we have a really big group. So there's always going to be people who are going to be upset with how they currently are, and then of course people who are going to be upset if we change it. So you're never ever going to make everybody happy. But what about you, Justin? If you were in the capper seat and get to change or not change how our cautions are currently thrown, what would you do?
Well, I do think that some cars that, spin off the racetrack and are basically just helpless there without an engine, you may want to throw a caution for that, even if it's off the track. But, because I know a couple times, even though I know this week I spun out and basically sat on the track for about 3 seconds before it came out. So I do think an off-track official needs to kind of take care of that, but it's up to Corey and Tanner to draw where that line is. So the off-track official does know. And as far as road courses go, I think that their competition cautioning is kind of interesting at halfway. I know we did that a couple years ago at Road America. I kind of liked it, but I don't know how everybody else feels about it. Currently, or my opinion on it is that I kind of like that idea, but again, I don't know how everybody else feels about that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there are times where maybe we should be a little more, I guess the word I would use is aggressive towards it. Because, sometimes whenever there's a wreck and, let's say there's just a single car spin, or maybe not, there's a 2-car spin this week, no, not this weekend, at Atlanta. I think it involved Mike Skinner and somebody else. And, you can make the argument that them rejoining the track at a slower pace is dangerous, but there's also the argument that, they're still in this race, and, they can't just hobble around. They got to get back in it, and the caution's not thrown. They kind of, their hand is forced. So I think you either need to make a rule about, if you're slow, stay off the surface till you're up to speed, or what is and isn't a caution. So what about you, Drew? You're new to this league, so you definitely bring a different opinion. Would you change or not change anything about how we're currently throwing the cautions?
I like the way that you put it, that it may be more aggressive. I think that for the most part, I like the way that the admins let the race kind of play out organically, and let iRacing, for the most part, do what it needs to do. But I know at Montreal, I just watched the replay to take notes, see what I could improve on if I miss my mark, stuff like that. And there was a guy that straight up, it was one of the Nathan Young designs. He barrel rolled down one of the short chutes, did 3 or 4 barrel rolls, and that probably should be a caution. And I get that the off-track admin can't see everything, but stuff like that probably should have been a caution. I know Atlanta, like you guys brought up, there were probably 2 to 3 wrecks during that one green flag stretch that should have been cautions. But I think, it's probably 90-95% there if I need to put a number on it. I really like the way you guys just kind of let it go.
Yeah. I think the reason why we let it go, and pretty much the reason why iRacing let it go, in real racing, the biggest reason for cautions are debris after a wreck, or of course debris during just, like a natural cause or whatever, and of course the driver's safety. And in iRacing, in the simulation, our safety and debris is not a factor. So I think that's the reason why a lot of cautions come out. I think it really depends. It's really hard to nail it down to a set of rules. I think a rule needs to be made for an umbrella for the race official to make his decision the way he feels need to be called. Of course, a single car spin into the apron that's saved, that's not a caution. But if 2 cars go off and there's substantial damage, or they're, it's like I said, it's it's really hard to call, and I think that's something that'll be discussed going forward. So that pretty much wraps it up. We only have 1 race this weekend, so there's not too much to talk about. Not really. Do you guys have any final words or final inputs or anything you'd like to discuss? All right, I think that about sums it up. Just want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank Nick Miller, Justin Kolb, and our weekend winner, Drew Eisenman, for stopping by, and we'll see you all next week.
Sounds good.
I hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. I started off saying this is going to be a shorter one, but here we are at about the 25-minute mark. We really had a great discussion. I really enjoyed the discussion with Drew, Justin, and Nick. I really think the four together, we really brought up some good points and some really good discussion. The interview with Drew Eisenman was great. I spent about an hour and a half after his interview just talking with him. He's a great addition to the league. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If there's any, I kind of would always like to get your guys' feedback. Are you liking it? Of course, this is for the most part me talking and me editing it, so I really don't get a great opinion. Like, I know I always get, podcast is great, but like, do you really like listening to it? What would you change? What would you take back? Or what would you get rid of, or anything like that? So just let me know how you're liking it. I hope you guys are. The views are really good, so I'm really happy with that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
Swallowed by a slowly emperor, who's to take his place that no one deserves. Hypocrites of the media.
Wondering where time ends, wondering where time goes, wondering when mine ends. Gonna ask if you could go. What's the point of team spirit if you can't hear it? Even if you got my back, what happens when I pass? You said you'd die if I died, girl, I hope you lied. They say life is